evaluate the indefinite integral. So here we have x squared times the square root of 2 plus x dx. Okay, so this one we might have to investigate just a little bit further when we're doing our substitution. And so what I mean by that is the first thing we want to do is let u equal what's under the radical. So I'm going to let u equal 2 plus x. Okay, and then eventually we're going to take the derivative down here. So I'm going to take the derivative of both sides with respect to x. And so du is going to equal the derivative of x, which is dx. Okay, now we also want to kind of move a little further here because we need to figure out what are we going to substitute for x squared and then dx. Okay, well, we can do that by manipulating step number 1. Okay, so over here I'm just going to put a bullet point because what we're going to do here is solve for x in our substitution. So if we wanted to solve for x, we would subtract 2 to both sides. So this would give us u minus 2, which is equal to x. Okay, and then the next thing is, if we want to make this x squared, right? Well, x squared is just squaring both sides. So if we squared both sides, what do we get? Well, we get x squared here, and then we get u minus 2 squared. So this can substitute for that, and then we know that there is our dx. So let's go ahead and then rewrite this as our original statement here. So we have the square root of 2 plus x times x squared dx. Okay, so what do we know that 2 plus x is equal to? Well, it's equal to u. So we have the square root of u. Now x squared, we want this to be in terms of u, which we did. So we solve for x, squared it, and we know that x squared is equal to u minus 2 squared. So this is times u minus 2 squared. And then we know that dx is equal to du. So therefore we have du. Okay. And so now what we want to do is we want to be able to then multiply and distribute before we do anything. So in this case here, we know that we have square root of u, which is the same thing as u to the 1/2. And then we got to multiply out u minus 2 squared. So remember, that's going to be u squared minus 4u plus 4 when you multiply that out. So this is going to become u squared minus 4u plus 4 and then times du. Okay, so now to make this easier on us, we want to make sure that we write this all in terms. And right now this is all one term, but we want to distribute this, right? So when we distribute, remember, if we have the same base, we add our exponents. Okay, so this is going to be u to the 1/2 plus 2 minus 4 times u to the 1/2 plus 1, which is the same thing as 2 over 2, and then plus 4 times u to the 1/2. And then that's all du. Okay. Now, keep in mind here that this 2, we want to have the same denominator, so this 2 is the same thing as not 3 over 2, 4 over 2. Okay, so again, multiplying by the same base, you add your exponents. So this is 1/2 plus 2, which is the same thing as 4 over 2, and so on. Now, let's go ahead and then add our exponents. So we have u to the 5 over 2 minus 4u to the power of 3 over 2 plus 4u to the power of 1/2 du. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the antiderivative of each. So let's go ahead and do that. So the antiderivative of the first term is going to be u to the 5/2 plus 2 over 2 over 5/2 plus 2 over 2. minus 4 times u to the 3 halves plus 2 over 2 over 3 halves plus 2 over 2 plus 4 times u to the 1 half plus 2 over 2 over 1 half plus 2 over 2 plus c. Okay, so now let's simplify a little further. So we end up getting u to the 7 halves over 7 over 2 minus 4 times u to the 5 halves over 5 over 2 plus 4 times u to the 3 halves over 3 over 2 plus c. Okay, now remember that we're going to take the reciprocal of what we have in the denominator and multiply it by that term. So this now becomes 2/7 times u to the 7 over 2 minus 4 times the reciprocal of the fraction of the denominator, which is 2/5, times u to the 5 over 2 plus 4 times 2 over 3 u to the power 3 over 2 plus c. And so now let's simplify this with our fractions. So we get the following. We have 2 over 7 u to the 7 over 2 minus 4 times 2, which is 8. So that's 8/5 u to the 5 over 2 plus 4 times 2, which is going to give us 8. And that's 8 over 3 u to the 3 halves plus c. And now the last thing we need to do is write down what our u substitution was. And we know that u was 2 plus x. So therefore, this is what's going to be our result. We have 2 over 7 times parentheses 2 plus x to the 7 halves minus 8 over 5 times 2 plus x to the 5 over 2 plus 8/3 times 2 plus x to the 3 over 2 plus c, and therefore there is our result.